So I use this saturation effect to quickly adjust the tonal characteristics of a distorted guitar, which is actually pretty difficult to do, but this was able to do it. Now, what's interesting is these numbers here represent the crossover bands of a multi-band system, and so you can quickly adjust and toggle the volume and accentuate what you want using these bands. And you can also adjust the crossover type of filter and many other things like that. But I wanted to show also this deeper page. So what's cool here is this is a saturation plugin. So it's like your exciters and your distorters that are harmonically distorting. But on each of these 6 bands, not only do you have different settings and such, but each one can have a different kind of saturation model. And you can even import some through folders. So think about the kind of like saturation, the multi-band saturation that can exist, through this not just multi-band, but different kinds of like tools, the saturation tools per crossover, and each of those with a different setting. So you're not going to get any more harmonic saturation than that. I mean, wow! So you have 6 of those. And they're very good models. So I just thought that was pretty cool. And to get back to this, so you have this simple view that will show you these things. And then you can, of course, adjust the amount of the false simulation of the tube as well. And you can adjust the gain through automatic gain compensation. But the truth is that also seems to affect the overall tonal characteristic of what's happening with the effect. And so I tend to just want to turn the volume down where it's almost matching the input. So if I have a system or a signal that's running through, so here's the input gain, here's the side channel, and you can see the output is significantly louder, even though I have the volume turned down lower. So that's just an example of basically the ways you can recolor a guitar. Now, I would capture this, and then it's actually being limited as well. And so I would then lower the volume once it's in the track. But I don't know, I just thought that was pretty cool. Because what I found out is here in band 5, if we go over to the edit page again, which is the way to get inside the deeper components of the melded system. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this range right here, this range is going from 2600 to 6000 hertz around. And this is a very nasty range. So I thought that was pretty cool because here you can see I messed with all these except for the low end, because that kind of low end is going to create really bad wobble. But anyways, I messed with these because these are all really sweetening the pot. Where this one, I could audibly just hear this horrific, the harshness coming in. So that's an interesting thing to note. This range is a very nasty range, and so that's something you could use to sort of de-harsh an overarching mix, not just a distorted guitar. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. So here's the guitar, and I'll just modulate that range. Can you hear that scratch? Ew. So that's the kind of top end we really don't want. The scratchiness is just horrific. And how cool is that? Not only can you leave that be, and they've dialed it in very nicely, even though it's just like an equalized thing, like they just went this much, this much, this much on each of these channels. But not only can you dial that in, but you can then lower that so that it can be even more diminished. You can get rid of even more harshness. That's pretty cool. So this is the power of saturation. And this is like Melda's Fidelity plugin, where you're looking for that warmth side of fidelity, and they have the basic easy access patch here. Now, what happens with this one is it's acting like a harmonic exciter, like you'd see like BBC. Is it BBC? No, BBE harmonic exciter with a very simple dial for the bass and the air. So that's not for this kind of usage, but you could use a little bit, you know, and then they also have ways to toggle what frequency it's focused on. And then the really cool thing is Melda's super modeling on the filter bands. I mean, it's pretty cool how they've done this. So that's really, each one of those things is going to drastically change the tonality. So I just thought this was a really cool effect. The MSaturator multiband. If you just use the MSaturator, you're not going to get all these cool additional sweetening, easy access parameters right off the bat. But you'll get the same kind of like modeling, which Melda's really superb at. So there it is.